Hello and welcome to a quick walkthrough of the new music system. I am talking to you moments after I pushed the 0.0.9 update, and there was a ton of stuff that happened there. This isn't going to be a full update video. I really just want to get to the point with the new music system and kind of explore what people are really going to find from it. So the first thing I'm going to do, of course, is launch OpenMarch, where you see we have a brand new launch page. I'm going to create a new show. I'm going to call it like QWERTY or something. And boom, you're greeted here. Now there's a few things that are different, but the first thing that you're going to want to do when you start a show is there's a button down here that says add tempo data. You can either press that or click this music thing, but we're going to press this first. And this pop-up is going to show up, showing us a few things. The first thing is that we can import an audio file if we'd like to, but if you are just kind of like scribbling around, you don't have an audio file, you don't need to do that. You could just start with some tempo, which is what we're going to do. Let's see what we have here. We have a name, we have a start tempo, we have an end tempo, beats per measure, number of measures. All of these are things that you're going to get familiar with. But let's just press create and see what happens. And as you can see, some stuff just popped up down here. We have 4 new measures created in our show. What we have done is we have created a tempo group. In OpenMarch, each beat is stored individually. You don't really need to worry about the specifics of it, but what you do need to know is that you now have full control of what you can do with your tempo. You can do tempo changes. You can do like just one tempo the whole time super easily. And no matter what, you can make it as either rigid and repetitive or flexible and changing as you want. And depending on who you are, you're gonna choose to do this in different ways. So if you're confused about what a tempo group is, or you just want to know more, you can read the hint on this question mark. But let's go ahead and keep creating tempo. As you'll see, we created a tempo group here at 120. I'll zoom in a little bit for you. 120 BPM measures 1 through 4. That's pretty clear. If we want to, we can delete this tempo group, and that will, if we have any pages, delete the coordinates with it. We can edit it, which is pretty similar to the dialog we have down here. Or we can add another one, and that'll be important in a second. But let's say we just want to add the same exact thing. 120 beats per measure 4, number of measures 4, boom. Now, nothing really seemed to happen, but if you look, something did happen. You can see 4 measures were created down here. And now we have measures 1 through 8, and we also have this 8x here. The thing about tempo groups is OpenMarch sort of dynamically decides what is grouped together because it doesn't necessarily want to keep track of every little thing. If you are thinking like, well, this might be annoying and I want each thing to be divided, or I have rehearsal numbers and stuff like that, you could do anything to differentiate the tempo group, and it will decide that it is a different group. So for example, if I make the tempo 119, that is a different group. We can delete that. If I make the beats per measure or time signature different, boom, same thing. Well, here I can do that. Delete that. Yeah, 120. We have a bar in 4/4, a bar in 3/4. And if we really wanted to, if we wanted to get really fancy, we could make this a decelerondo, which is something that a lot of people have been asking me for. Let's say we're going down to 80. And boom, you'll see that we have a custom tempo there. We could also add a rehearsal mark. And you'll see that it divides that with the number there. If we do one with B, we could also do like any sort of words that we want. And you'll see on the bottom here, each of these things shows up as a bigger measure. So our rehearsal marks are bigger than our normal beats on the timeline down here. So let's say I made this that. Boom. Cool. So let me go into why this adding is significant. If you want to add something, let's say you have measure 1 through 8 and you have 9 through 12, but you want to add something in the middle of here. Let's say some 2/4 bars. When you press this add button, it adds a group after this one. So we can do 2 beats per measure, number of measures 4, and we'll see now we have 4 2/4 bars here. With this new timeline as well, you can zoom in and out with these buttons on the right here. Pretty sure that's similar to older versions. And yeah, that is pretty simple. Next thing I'll talk about briefly is this custom sort of idea. So we can edit, when we edit this group, we can edit each beat individually if we would like to, and this is where you can get the granularity. Because at the end of the day, when you are syncing tempo in OpenMarch, all OpenMarch really cares about is being in sync with the music that you have. It's not you shouldn't necessarily be worried about OpenMarch's tempo specifically being perfect. As a designer, you're mostly worried about, does this actually sync up with the music that I'm designing to? If it's a MIDI, then very likely it's going to be metric, and that's when you're going to have something like this. Now you might notice, the keen eye among you, is that I made this tempo change from 120 to 80, but you'll see that I only go down to 90, and that was to make it so that the next tempo that you are going to get to is 80. So hypothetically, if this was a correct tempo change, my next tempo would be 80, and when we start this bar, it'd be going 120, 110, 100, 90, 80. And again, if you disagree with that, if you're like, I don't really like the way that that works, you could always edit it and change it to be something like 110, and then 100, 90, 80. Or you could make it like divided by 7. You could really do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. If you wanted to make, what bar is this? Measure 17. If you wanted to make beat 2 for whatever reason, like, or beat 3, like 30 beats per minute, great. Now you have a really awkwardly long beat in there. Another thing about tempo changes is that they can span measures. So if you have 4 measures and you're going from, let's say, 180 all the way down to 60, we'll see what happens. You see a bunch of tempo groups get created, each of which has their own custom tempo. Now you can edit these as you would like. You can delete them. You can move them around a bit, and by move them around, I mean like delete them and add new ones. But I do recommend, though, when you are creating tempo groups, try and do it as much as you can before creating pages. You can sort of hack your way around keeping all of your data there, but it would be very upsetting if you deleted all of your measures in a page and pages, but that is undoable. Cool. So like I said, when you're working with a MIDI, what you're going to be working with is usually pretty metric. But if you have like audio or something, like if you're in a guard show and you're using songs, like just normal MP3 files, we also have a tap tempo feature that is pretty experimental. So before I do anything, let me import some music. Hold on, let me make sure I don't dox myself. Okay, so we're going to import some music. You're just going to have to trust that I did it. I paused the recording for a second. And you'll see that music shows down here and our tempo is still there. Now I'll give you a little secret. This is the Washington Post March, and I actually don't know what tempo this particular recording is. But if we delete all of these tempo groups, I believe it is something in the neighborhood of 112. I don't think it's 120. So we could do just 76 bars of, well, actually this would be in 2-2 or 2-4. And we could do that, or we could manually tap the tempo. And I've done this in a previous video. So if you want to tap the tempo, what you're going to want to do is, it's actually not going to be in this modal because this is a pretty experimental feature. You click this edit button down here, and you'll see this whole message that's saying it's not very polished. Good luck, have fun. Like it might be a bit frustrating, but we're going to tap the new tempo and you'll see some instructions that pop up here. My head is blocking some of them, but you can read them in your own app. Basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be pressing the 1 to 8 key, or 1 through 9, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Any of those keys, and that is going to denote what measure we are in. So while it's playing, you are going to be tapping 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or if you're in 2-2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 2, something like that. I'll show you. I'm confusing myself. Oh my gosh. Let me make sure I don't deafen you and myself. Okay, so let's use this example. Cool. So now that I have my bearings, let's restart. So what's going to happen is you're going to start playing your music and you're going to tap along to the downbeats, and you're going to tap the number of beats that the measure was before. Let me do that again for you. I'm pressing the 2 key here. Yeah, and so you can do that and you can save and that'll work. But of course, like this is you'd have to do this for the whole thing. Like I say here, it's pretty experimental, and it's an all or nothing thing. Like you have to do this in one shot, just because I haven't had a ton of time to polish this. But let me show you another example. So if we were, this is all in 2/2, but let's say it was going from 2/2 to 3, or it was going from a 1 2 dun 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 dum bum 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 bum. Like if it was doing that, I could swap between pressing 2, 3, and I'll show you exactly that. So I'm not sure if you can see it on the video, but I will show it, kind of try and zoom in a little bit more. Save new beats. If you can see, the measure 1 is 2 beats, measure 2 is 3 beats, measure 3 is 2. It's a little bit hard to see here, but what we're effectively doing is we are telling actively OpenMarch what time signature we're in, and it's going to memorize that as measures. And so from here, you're about to see all of these tempos are quite imperfect because we tapped them manually. The music menu in OpenMarch isn't really going to be able to recognize them. So you're going to see like, yeah, these are all very like imprecise tempos. Yeah, we have a bar of 2/4, we have a bar of 3/4, 2/4, 3/4. And we can do see, like 116, 138, but it's very precise as far as like when you tap it. So if you're doing that, if you're like doing the tap tempo, this tempo group menu might not be that useful to you, except if you want to make it a name. So let's say you wanted to make measure 5, letter A. We can do that. Oh, wow. We can do that. I think that's a bug. We can do that, and we see that there's letter A right there. Cool. I think a bug that I just became aware of is I think it forces this to be a whole number. So I'll need to fix that. Okay. So the last thing I'm going to say, because I think that is it in the new music system, a couple quick things is we now have section colors. So this was thanks to a contributor, Jake. Very awesome. You can just, for like each section, you can have a different sort of color and marcher shape. I'll let you guys play with that. And then also a very big deal, you can now export coordinate sheets as drill charts. But that is, oh yeah, we need like at least a marcher. So if we do this, boom, export drill charts. There we go. And you can export this as a PDF. So I really hope, I forgot this. I forgot this last feature because this actually took me a really long time. You can add a page by pressing here now, but that's not what I wanted to show you. You can change the counts of pages by clicking and dragging this indicator here, and you'll see that the counts update there. Another small difference is that when you update the pages in here, in these values, it's going to yank or shove them. But that's just a small detail. Oh yeah, and there's also this like split page. Sorry, there's like so much that happened in this update. This was months in the making, so I really, really hope that you enjoy 0.0.9. It was a labor of love by me and the whole OpenMarch team, or even just people who decided it would be really fun to contribute. So I am, as always, very grateful for everyone who puts their time into this project. And I am also ever grateful for you for supporting the project and also buying our merch, because it's a great way to support this project and what we do. And we have a lot of plans for the summer and for hopefully to get a lot of stuff done by the fall season for bands that are going to use it. We're going to have a lot of content and a lot of opportunities for bands that hope to use this in the fall season and trust us with designing their programs. So yes, as always, join the Discord, reach out for anything, and I will see you guys later.